What's going on, guys? You guys are tuning into the Night Crew podcast, where we shine a light on people, the stories, and the realities that only come alive after dark. I'm your host, Eric, a night shift lifer, a private security company owner, and a private security vet, and someone who has seen this industry from the inside out. Tonight, we're on episode 10, The Unseen Responders. A private security reality. Let's
We don't hear
go!
the sirens when we step in, but we're there. Every night, every post, every threat. Unseen first responders. Yeah, that's us. We the first to move, but the last to get props. Clocking in silence while the chaos pops. Guarding that scene when the rest still sleep. Eyes wide in the dark while they counting sheep. No lights, no badge, just boots in a stance. Keep it cool when the world don't give us a chance. From the lot to the block, we handle that flame. But when the credit comes in, they forget our name. Trap in my ear, but my mind on alert. Catching trouble before somebody gets hurt. I ain't got a siren.
You guys are tuning into the Night Crew podcast. Today, we are on episode. Why do I keep saying today? I'm looking outside, it's night. Tonight, we are on episode 10. The Unseen Responders. A private security reality. And today, we're trying a new energy drink. Has 200 milligrams of caffeine, and it's called Rise. And it's Arctic Berry. It's always the noise. Absolutely. Yes. This energy drink with the 200 milligrams, zero sugar, is going to get you to that last leg of your night shift. And the taste is amazing. I can't get over it. That's good. Real good. Let's start off with a story of an incident that happened in Illinois in 2018. He pinned a gunman to the ground after shots rang out in a crowded bar, likely preventing more bloodshed. But when the police arrived, they didn't hail him as a hero. They shot him dead. His name was Jamil Robinson, a 26-year-old security officer in Illinois.
Annie's Jamel Robertson, one of several that night, had just apprehended one of the shooting suspects. He was detaining him for police, holding the man at gunpoint. But then things went terribly wrong. A responding officer, Ian Covey from nearby Midlothian, shot Robertson in the parking lot of the bar.
He died doing the exact thing first responders do, protecting lives in an emergency. Yet, legally, Jamel wasn't a first responder, just another security guard, a frontline hero nobody in power wants to acknowledge. This isn't in one-off tragedy or some freak accident. It's a system of a broader truth. Private security officers are on the front line of emergencies every freaking day, every night. But our laws and attitudes erased him from the first responder category. And before I end this podcast, I want to expose how the system deliberately excludes private security from the title first responder. Even as we bleed, save lives, face danger, just like officially recognized first responders, you'll hear about the legal fine print that writes us out, the real life heroics and sacrifices of security officers, and the annoying dismissive attitude from police agencies and lawmakers. And we're going to spell out the consequences of this exclusion. No hazard pay, no benefits, no mental health support. All of these folks that do the job, that should earn the exact protections. And by the end of this podcast, I hope to have made a bold call to action. And I think it's time for people to rethink what a first responder truly is and demand respect, and recognition for the private security officers who have more than earned it. Sorry, I got a little passionate. And I want to start off with the basics. Okay, what is a first responder? Legally. And it turns out the definition is often narrowly written to exclude people like private security guards. So let's take a California example for us. I live here. In 2020, the state passed a law, AB 1945, to define first responder means an employee of a state or local public agency who provides emergency services, including police, firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, and even 911 dispatchers. Go figure. Do you guys see anything or notice anything different here? Every single one of those roles is a public sector employee. Private security officers who are employed by companies or individuals are nowhere near on that list. And if you wear a security uniform for a shopping mall, a hospital, a nightclub, whatever, by law in California, you are not a first responder. You're explicitly left out. And California is not unique here. Many states have similar definitions tying first responder status to government employment. On the federal level, it's a little vague because the term first responder isn't consistently defined in all laws. But where it does appear, it always points to roles like law enforcement, EMS, firefighters, and sometimes certain volunteer organizations, not private companies. For instance, U.S. Code 34 defines first responders as firefighters, law enforcement, EMTs, etc., and other individuals who respond to emergencies as a part of a legally organized and recognized volunteer group. Again, private security doesn't fit the mold. We didn't get in. We didn't get to the club. They're not volunteering for a public agency. They're an employee to protect private property or people. Even guidance from federal agencies implicitly sidelines us. And there's a forum summary of FEMA/DHS rules puts it very, very bluntly and clear that a security guard is not a first responder, as they are not a part of the emergency medical system or law and order function. In other words, you ain't a cop, you ain't no firefighter, you ain't no medic, or some part of official emergency network. They don't count you. They count you out. And I believe that this exclusion is not accidental. It's by design. Lawmakers and agencies deliberately drew the circle tight around public emergency services. And some may argue that makes sense. First responders are traditionally seen as government trained professionals dispatched through 911. But there's a catch. There's always a catch. Emergencies don't give a damn about your job titles or who signs your paycheck. And increasingly, the first person on the scene of an emergency is never a cop or a paramedic. It's a private security officer. Let's talk about the reality. Okay, I want you guys to picture this. Okay. A child stops breathing at a busy shopping mall. And who do you guys think rushes first for CPR? Often, okay, hold on, wait, stop. Chill. I'm going to say something very nice about the mall security, okay? Don't shoot me. I'm not a terrorist. But I have to, okay? Because Allied is on all the malls. And this is a true story. It's a mall security guard. In countless emergencies, the first responder is not 911. It's private security. And we're already there. We're there before the sirens, doing whatever the hell we can to help the situation. And this isn't theoretical. It's documented reality. This is true story. One security industry blog flats out says, the first responders to many emergencies are not medical staff or law enforcement, but security officers. Think about it, okay? Security officers are everywhere. You got about 800,000 security officers worldwide compared to the 600 and some odd change of law enforcement officers. Security officers are often seen at office buildings, hospitals, schools, stores, banks. So when something goes down at any of those places, who's literally standing there? The security guard. And if they're well trained, they step in and act because waiting can cost lives. Why would we want to put ourselves in that situation where we're just sitting there, just staring, just letting it happen? I'm sorry, I cannot, if I see something going on, I cannot just sit there and just let it happen. I saw this live stream downtown. Security guards just sitting there, standing there, don't know what to do. These guys are fighting downtown. A guy's on the ground, he's getting mauled, and security guards are just sitting there like, I don't know what to do. Do something. Because had that person die, who's responsible for it? Security is. Whether they think so or not, they are. If you guys remember, let me give you guys a couple examples, okay? So if you guys remember, October 1st, 2017, in Las Vegas, where chaos erupted as bullets rained down on a concert crowd. The first person to confront the killer was not a cop or a soldier. It's an unarmed hotel security guard on the 32nd floor. And his name is Jesus. It really is. Spelled Jesus. But it's Jesus Campos. This was with him, though. A Mandalay security officer rushed towards the danger alone, as we all do in private sector, and takes a bullet to the leg. In those critical minutes, Campos does what any real first responder would do. He radios for help, he directs the police to the shooter's location, and likely saved more countless lives. A senior police officer even called him an absolute hero. Yay. Then admitted, we haven't done a good enough job recognizing his actions. I want you guys to let that sink in. This guy literally bled to stop a massacre. Yet, when the medals were handed out and the speeches were made, he was forgotten about. He wasn't recognized in this. It was the first officer that was on the scene got recognized and got a nice little pretty shiny medal. But not Campos. Campos did not get a medal, exemplifying his bravery for taking a shot in the leg so people wouldn't die or continue dying. So there's another example that I have. And this guy's name is, a security officer named Misha Pullman earned an award for a similar reason. She jumped in action when a child nearly drowned in a pool, performing CPR for 5 minutes until the kid started breathing again. These are literally textbook first responder actions. Immediate life-saving intervention. It's not just the medical emergencies. Private security faces violent threats, often before the police arrive. And you guys remember Jamel Robinson from the intro. He subdued an active shooter. I didn't mention that. He subdued an active shooter at the bar.
He had his gun still out holding the offender on the ground. My officer here. He telling him to drop his gun. I'm telling him he working with us. Cool out. He's working with us. He shot him 4 or 5 times.
Or considered another case in Dallas this past year. A security guard named Anthony Agnew. I might be saying it wrong, and I apologize. And Anthony was shot and killed on the job protecting the store.
Anthony Egionu, a 39-year-old security guard at a CVS in downtown Dallas, was shot and killed while confronting shoplifters. The incident occurred on a Friday evening when a group of armed juveniles robbed the store. Egionu, a dedicated father of 3, was shot 3 times and later died in the hospital. Anthony was the sole provider for his family, working tirelessly with dreams of becoming a police officer.
These security officers deal with the same dangers as police do. Armed criminals, violent situations, but usually without backup on the scene. They are the thin line until the cavalry shows up. The purple thin line. Used to be yellow. We'll talk about that. A security guard in Flint, Michigan was enforcing a COVID mask rule in 2020. Something as mundane as asking a customer to put their face mask on. And he was shot in the head and murdered for telling someone to put their face mask on. This because this guard was enforcing a public safety guideline, and that costed him his life. That sounds awful like the kind of risk we hear firefighters, medics, and police face. Private security guards often are the first responders. We're literally on the scene. Whether it's a heart attack, fire, active shooter, or fight, they take action. Evacuating buildings, performing CPR, basic first aid, confronting threats, guiding police or EMS when they arrive. In fact, many police and firefighters acknowledge that a good security officer can save lives in that gap before official responders get there. One major security company notes that security is often credited with life-saving actions by police, and sometimes private security can respond to emergencies faster than the official responders themselves can. So on the ground, the line between security guard and real first responders gets pretty thin. It comes down to timing and training. Not the color of a uniform, whether you have a badge from the city hall, you got a handshake from the city mayor. Despite walking the same walk, security officers are shut down from talking the talk. Wants to shut up. We don't get no recognition or official respect. You don't see us on the news getting a key to the city or saving countless lives. And half the time, when it comes to the news, we're vaguely left on there. Vaguely. I'm sorry, that's not good enough. You mean to tell me that I almost died today protecting people and all I get is a can't even hear that. I can't even hear the clap. Hooray. Come on, Dad. Love me. If private security does so much of this frontline work, then why the hell are we excluded from being first responders? Why are we not in the club? Why are we not in the club? All my friends are in the club, man. We're not friends. Come on. Be friends.
But in the club, we all fam. What? In the club, we all fam. In the club, we are all family. Are you racist?
There's a long-standing dismissive attitude towards security officers. You probably heard of the term rent-a-cop. Paul Blart, Mall Cop, Craig and Dady, top flight security in the world, Craig. The idea that private security is comprised of a bunch of wannabes who couldn't become real police. Say, often you get someone evicted off a property. They said, yeah, you couldn't be a cop. That's why you're a freaking rent-a-cop. Yeah. You can't even make it in real time. Just some dumb guard. Yeah, I bet you're probably too stupid to take the test. The Pellet B test. You probably didn't pass physical education. You probably didn't even pass the physical aspect of the academy. That's why you're here, fat ass. Thank you. Someone called me on Instagram, called me Paul Blart. I'm like, I'm black. It's insulting, man. I'm not gonna lie. And it overlooks the reality we just talked about. But the attitude has consequences and it seeps into policy. I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys. But it's happened to me, I don't know how many times. And police agencies, police officers have told me to just observe and report. Don't intervene. Just call us instead. I had one officer years ago. He says, you gotta stop taking your job so serious, man. Okay? This is for us. Like you need to back up. I don't know why you continue intervening and every time I show up, you have someone on the ground. That's not your job. What do you mean? Of course it's my job. I want to be proud of me, Dad. Come on, man. I'm a great guy. And not too recently, but a couple years ago, he apologized. Came up to me. We go to the same church together. He apologized to me. He said, hey, man, I just want you to know that I used to kind of give you a hard time. And I just want you to know I apologize. And I was like, okay. I forgot all about that, but okay, I appreciate that. And I think that this mantra that these cops have for security implies that security guards need to just sit in a corner until dad shows up, police show up. One discussion on security forum summed that the official stance under DHS rules, security is not a first responder because they're not a part of law enforcement or EMS. And a Reddit comment from a law enforcement perspective put it bluntly: private security aren't classified as first responders. Meaning, stay in your own lane, rent a cop. Mind your own damn business. Let the real professionals handle it. Ooh. Whatever, dude. Suck it easy. Private security guards are not classified as first responders. And you guard that building or that store, but you're not a part of a broader emergency response system. That's for us, the public servants. You go mind your own little business on your private property, little buddy. And that kind of gatekeeping is elitist. And I believe that it ignores that emergencies begin on private properties. Schools, malls, workplaces, all private property. They didn't know that. Where security may be the only responder in the first critical minutes. So little Timmy, go over there. Why don't you go over there and hang out at the shopping mall and sit over there and go mind your own damn business what's going on over here? Okay, active shooter. Oh, little Timmy. You're not can you help? Please, Timmy. Please. I know you're not a first responder, but we need your help. We need you doing what first responders do. Save a life. It's contradicting. Lawmakers, for their part, haven't felt pressure to change the status quo. And probably because the general public doesn't realize this equality. Police and firefighter unions hold political sway to protect the members' status and benefits, as they should. But who's lobbying for the private sector? The security guards on the night shift? Virtually no one. In fact, when a new group do fight for first responder status, like the 911 dispatchers, go figure, recently did, it was an uphill battle. And California added public safety dispatchers to the first responders definition only in 2020. After years of dispatchers saying, oh, help, I have trauma. I hear stuff from people. I have to take it home with me. Emotionally, I'm not there. I have PTSD now. I have nightmares. And they finally got recognized. But have you even heard of a bill to recognize those that work private security as first responders? No, you haven't. Politicians either don't think about us at all or actively avoid the topic. And I'm going to go with door number 2, Bob. I think they avoid the topic altogether. Why? Money. It's all about money. Calling security officers first responders could mean mandates for better pay and benefits. Be more on that in a moment. Possibly liability. Acknowledging might blur the lines of authority and possibly, let's be honest, some bias. A sense that only official uniformed public employees deserve the honor and resource of being called first responders. Oh. Wish I had some glitter. Everyone is considered a support act. No matter if they saved 10 lives with a tourniquet or died stopping a shooter. I don't know if I remember telling you, I'm probably sure I brought this up, but I got shot back in 2018. And I was able to, well, it doesn't matter, who cares? But what I was able to do was I was able to identify the people that shot me or shot at me. And when I called 911 to let them know that I was shot and that we had been robbed, even though it was legal establishment, who cares? But law enforcement showed up and I had 3 guys pointing guns at me. Really inviting. Thanks, Dad. Gosh, not a first responder. They treated me like a criminal. And then when I went through interview with the detectives, they treated me like a criminal. The whole court proceeding, the law enforcement officers that responded didn't talk to me. The detective that interviewed me and just embarrassed the hell out of me wouldn't even talk to me. I wasn't even recognized as a hero. Although I identified these people and prevented them from doing more crime or killing someone else, because one of them did that they didn't catch right away. Sucks. This dismissive mindset is bullshit. Sorry, cuss. But it creates a caste system in emergency response. On top, the publicly employed heroes we appropriately celebrate. And beneath them, a shadow workforce of private security guards who are expected to act like heroes when needed, but treated as nobodies the rest of the time. They want all this information. Oh, what they look like? Hey, does this face look correct? Does that look it? Oh, okay. Thank you so much for your help. And after that, they kick you to the curb. Get out of here, peasant. Rent a cop. Go back to observing and reporting, buddy. Boo. Get that guy. Security officers often have extensive training. Remind you, I didn't say security guards, I said security officers. Often have extensive training. Many are former military or ex-law enforcement, or have certification in first aid, AED, crisis intervention, de-escalation. Coordinate with police. We assist firefighters. We control crowds and secure perimeters during incidents. Function specifically noted as invaluable support to official responder. Yet the institutional attitude still regulates us to second-class nobody. And police agencies rarely include us in their debriefing or their incident planning. And lawmakers write laws as if we don't exist. And society at large gives a polite, so subtle, so golf clap at best when they do something heroic. And then they go back to, get out of here. They're on the news. Yeah, he's a great guy. Get out of here. Forget you. This exclusion isn't just about semantics or ego. It has real consequences for men and women who work private security and are on the front lines. And we don't get hazard pay or bonuses when a crisis hits. Okay? Recognized first responders often get hazard benefits. During COVID-19, some states issued a $1,000 bonus check to first responders as a thank you for their risky service. And in Florida, those checks went to sworn law enforcement officers, EMTs, firefighters, paramedics. Exactly the groups in the official club, in the cool kids club. And private security officers who also stood in high exposure environments, like enforcing mask mandates where someone got killed in hospitals, didn't get a dime. And generally, police and firefighters have clauses for hazard pay when working in disaster zones or civil unrest. Security guards are hourly employees of a private firm. If they're sent into a dangerous situation, there's no automatic bonus. In fact, many security guards barely earn a living wage at baseline. The median annual for a security guard in the US is around $31,000, roughly $15 an hour, often with minimal benefits. You guys compare that to the law enforcement officer who has a salary of $65,000 plus a year, and usually with comprehensive benefits and retirement plans. I'm not saying, by any means, am I saying cops are overpaid. They're not. I think given the job, they're paid correctly. I'm just saying that security officers doing the same similar risky task often get this fast food level pay. Actually, I take that back. Oh, we get less than fast food level pay. And since we're not first responders by law, no government program is going to step in and give us hazard pay, stipends when the going gets tough. We're gonna risk our lives for pocket change, guys. $16 an hour to save a life? I do for free. There's no public safety benefits or recognition. If a law enforcement officer is killed in the line of duty, there are well-established honors and support systems. If you guys do not see, I got a fucking dog that has a picture of him in front of the freaking police department. A dog. No offense, I love dogs. But I think, had I been in that same situation of that dog and I got shot, do you think there'd be a memorial of me in front of the police department here in Bakersfield? Probably not. I'd probably say, probably not. Probably say, he's a good guy. Nice guy. That's about it. And with this public safety benefits and recognition, you know, they get their families are entitled to funeral expenses, you know, memorials, and they do line of duty death honors. Got a guy in the damn bagpipe performing. At a funeral. You got the whole street lit up with police lights, emergency lights from first responders. If I get shot today, somebody better light their damn amber lights. Okay? Do it, please. Begging you. And if you can play the bagpipe, please play the bagpipe. At my funeral. Make me feel official. And we think about, you know, just a few years ago, we had a deputy here that was killed in the line of duty. Deputy Philip Campos was a part of the SWAT team. And they celebrate him any chance they get. His birth date, the death date. You got pictures and memorials and everything all of this guy. But if I go into that, in that situation, and I respond to a domestic disturbance, and I get killed, is anybody going to give me that same energy? Is anyone going to give me that? Am I going to get that? No. I'm not. I'm going to get, he's a good guy. Good guy. And security guards are not covered in those programs that are eligible for public safety officers. My family, if I died today, my family will get nothing but whatever I'm paying into my own 401k. And we remember Calvin Munnerlin, the security officer that was killed over enforcing the mask rule.
Police in Flint, Michigan are hunting for 2 suspects after a security guard outside this Family Dollar store was shot and killed in a dispute that witnesses said started over a face mask.
You're not going to find his name in front of the damn hospital. It's not going to say, in loving memory of Calvin Munnerlin. What a great guy. He told a guy to put his mask on and he died for it. Fortunately, his sacrifice does not count the same way. And I believe it's jacked up. And being a first responder is tough on the mind. We know. Cops, firefighters, EMTs, they see terrible things and often have resources like peer support programs, psychologists on staff, coverage for counseling, you name it. But security officers see the same damn thing. Violence, death, trauma, you name it. We also have to face it alone. I had to face my shooting. When I got shot, I had to face that mentally on my own. And I swear to God, no one better bring this up, but when I got shot, I got so depressed. All I can do was self-medicate with alcohol. All my guns were gone. I didn't have nothing. And I couldn't find a job. And I got evicted from my apartment because of that. And I was homeless for 2 years. So if anybody wants to say anything or wants to make a comment about it, you guys can come say it to my face. That is what trauma gets. That's what I got. I was depressed, trauma, PTSD all over the place. I didn't have anybody to talk to. You think somebody was coming after me and say, "Hey, don't, Eric, I'm going to cover your apartment expenses until you find a job." And one study in 2021 found that a whopping 40% of security workers, security officers, suffer from PTSD or other mental health illnesses due to the disturbing events they witness or respond to. 40%. That's half of those that work the private sector. And do private security companies provide therapists by default? No. And since we're not recognized as first responders, there's no public initiative to address their mental health. No presumptive PTSD coverage in many states. Maybe you get workers' comp and go on stress leave. We'll see how long that lasts. And a lot of these security officers are going to end up with nightmares, anxiety, or depression from the heroic actions they have taken. They have to pay out of pocket to get help, or more often, none of us get help at all. And it becomes a silent crisis. We have folks essentially functioning as frontline responders with frontline trauma. Yet, we are left to fend for ourselves mentally because society doesn't see us as real responders in need of care. And with the first responder status, private security continues and remains a low-tier occupation in many people's eyes. That means lower training standards in some cases. Since training requirements vary widely, which in turn can put officers at more risk. It means that during a multi-agency emergency drill, security teams may not even be invited or integrated, leaving a huge gap in preparedness for incident at, let's say, stadium or a factory where security would actually be on scene. It also means these officers don't enjoy the protections of things like qualified immunity or robust legal defense that cops have if something goes wrong during an intervention, which makes them personally vulnerable legally when they do step up in an emergency crisis. Basically saying, go ahead and act like first responders in a crisis, but if anything goes sideways, you're on your own, buddy. And that's unfair. The bottom line is, excluding private security from the ranks of recognized first responders, they deny us pay, honors, protections, and support systems that we know are deserved for such dangerous and critical work. We create a class of unsung heroes expected to do the job without the job title. It's injustice by omission, and it has to change. What do we do about all this? We wake up to the reality that first responder is defined by their actions, not by their employer. If a private security officer is the first on scene, stabilizing victims, or confronting a danger, then damn it, they're a first responder. In every meaningful sense. It's time that our laws and our mindsets catch up with the truth. We need to pressure lawmakers to recognize that, yes, private security officers in a shopping mall, or on a campus, or in a hospital is a part of an emergency response fabric of our society. Gotta breathe. And that could mean passing laws that explicitly include private security personnel in certain responder benefits programs, training initiatives, or honors. Why shouldn't a certified, highly trained private security medic at an event be eligible for the same state of line duty benefits as an EMT? Why shouldn't a mall security officer who gets disabled tackling an unarmed robber have access to the same support a cop would. We should demand these changes. Write to our representatives. Highlight these stories and ask them why the law treats the heroes as second-class citizens. Second-class nobody. Craigs, Day-Days, Rent-A-Cops. We need public agencies to engage with private security as partners, not piss-ons. That means that the police department's cooperating more with security officers and teams in their jurisdiction, offering joint training, including security and emergency planning for places that have large private guard presence. It means ending the observe and report as the only expectation. Instead, acknowledge that many times the observation is the report. Because the situation or provided life-saving aid. Okay. Because by the time the cops get there, a security guard might have already de-escalated the situation or provided life-saving aid. Police and fire leadership should be encouraging and recognizing exemplary stories, actions by security officers publicly. I'm not saying I want a whole parade of me. Or I don't want you guys to have a marathon foundation dedicated to Eric Huggins. No! Night Watch. No! But I want to be recognized. And I know you guys want to too. Some of these fire and police leadership, they do recognize the security guard if he does a good thing in his town or city. But let's formalize that appreciation. What about an emergency service auxiliary status for security officers who complete certain trainings? Basically deputizing guards as recognized first responders on site. And I believe that these ideas are worth exploring. It's not a bad idea. And most importantly, as society, we need to drop that elitism around the term first responder. We got a harsh reminder during the pandemic. The essential workers included grocery clerks, fast food places, truck drivers, janitors, people who are not traditionally glorified, but literally kept us alive. Thank you, McDonald's, for keeping us alive. Protecting properties during civil unrest. You guys remember George Floyd riots? Who was on the front lines with law enforcement? Security was. The concept of who rushes towards trouble is broader than the classic image of a firefighter running into a burning building. It might be a lone unarmed guard confronting a thief, or an armed security patrol rushing to the sound of gunfire in the office, or a hotel security guard doing chest compressions on a collapsed tenant in the lobby. These people, us, have been unsung for too long. And I think it's time to sing praises. Oh. And back that up with policy. Let's call it what it is. Denying private security officers in the title and treatment of first responders is a disservice to the truth and a disservice to the public safety. It's past time we tear down the wall. We need to push for change so that whether you're in uniform for the city or uniform for a company, you're on the front line of emergencies and the honor you deserve. No more fallen security heroes left off the memorials. No more PTSD in silence. No more poverty wages for saving lives. When someone is willing to put themselves in harm's way to protect others, we owe them more than just a pat on the back. We owe them more than just thank you. We owe them a place among the ranks of the brave. Private security officers are first responders. Say it. Legislate it. And damn well start treating us like it. This is my unapologetic call to action. Rethink what a first responder truly is. Recognize the private security professionals as brothers and sisters of the front line, on the front line. Because the next time you're caught in a crisis, the person who comes to your rescue is not going to be a police officer with a badge or a fire helmet. They might be a security officer with a patch on each of the shoulders that say private security. And if we fail to honor that person as a true first responder, then shame on you guys. It's time to change it. And it starts now, with all of us demanding justice for our private protectors. Man, that one really hit hard. All right, guys. It's true. You know, I think it's time for private security to start talking. You know, the private security is too silent. No one's advocating for private security to be first responders. Same thing when it comes to the wages. Everyone's bitching about wages, but it's everyone has to come together and say, hey, we deserve more. You guys have to want more. It's not just one thing collecting a paycheck. It's going to work every single day feeling adequate. Feeling like your job, when you go on your shift, that you matter. I matter. We matter. I'm all out of time. Matter of fact, this is a lot of time. I got really passionate about this because I love my industry. I love what I do. I can do it for free. I've said this so many times. I don't want to be a freaking cop because people like myself can help push legislature to change people's opinions. And if I can be a part of that, then I served my industry. So guys, think about it. I want you guys to find us on Instagram, like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, you guys message us. You guys can check our link tree and see where we're all at. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I want to hear what you guys think. How do you guys feel about this? Should security be considered first responders? Should they go through a specialized training to become deputized as a first responder? All right, guys. Been real. The nights are dark and full of terror.
Just know who stood there before the sirens, before the backup, before the world even knew there was a problem.